Should I do? Wait, should I, this is what I should do while I wait for people to roll in. This right here. Oh, I do have sound. Okay, we gotta see if I can slow him down by staying in front of him. It does not seem that that's the case. So what's up with... I really thought I'd be able to, like, control their speed. Oh, I just realized... Are these homing towards me, like, very slowly? That's interesting. The bullets on the ground are homing towards me very slowly. I guess since I have control over which way they're gonna spawn, I could intentionally spawn them in a way that tries to align their trajectories. I'm trying to think of like I saw them posting on the Discord that there's like some kind of forbidden knowledge in this game. So I'm trying to figure out what that would be. I kind of thought it would just be that what I was thinking about when I first played it, which is just that, I mean, clearly they're moving different speeds right now. So what is causing that? They don't bump into each other. So I thought it would just be that, like, you know, I mean, clearly they can push me around, so why can't they, like, push themselves around? Like, why can't I control the way that... I thought maybe I could control the way that they, control their speed by, like, you know, if I get out in front of them and they're throwing their stuff forward at me, then maybe that would slow them down a little bit. But that doesn't seem to be the case. But yeah, maybe it's just to do with spawning them. I don't know, there's probably something else that's really weird. Maybe there's some crazy movement tech or something? Holding different directions at once? Oh, wait. It's kind of interesting that my legs disappear. if I'm running one direction for long enough. That's sound. It's like a special sound effect for that? I can't really hear it very well. Moist, thanks for resub. How's it going, Misa? How's it going, Samp? How's it going, Inkblot? Going, Johan? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't been able to play any of these games, since the stream. I mean, not that I haven't been able to, but I haven't. I've made the decision not to because I want to play them so much, but I'm trying to start getting a bunch of videos out soon. Start moving in the direction directly opposite you. I don't feel like that's that powerful, but maybe if you... I guess one thing you can do with that... Can I just restart? One thing you can do is just, like, make them go completely horizontal. Then you gotta really be ready for the next one to spawn. Like, that's just obviously gonna make it a lot easier. Now I have to be, like, ready at the middle. Oh no. No! I mean, that still helps a lot. I guess if there's any way to even slightly, like, predict where the next one's gonna spawn. I guess the screen is a little bit tall. Is the screen a little bit taller than it is wide? I can't really tell. Or the play area. If it's a little taller than it is wide, then it would make more sense to do up and down rather than left and right. Speed is also dependent on spawn location. Like distance from me? Like if I'm really far away, it'll go slowly? Why can I not... I'm not centered? Okay. Okay, so that's like pretty slow. Now, if I go really close... Oh... Okay. Okay, so being really far away helps, and then also you can maybe try to get them to just go like horizontal or something. But yeah, that's like really slow. And that like stays. Like they never speed up or slow down after they get going, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. That's that's pretty huge. This game is like so incredibly interesting for how simple it is. It's crazy. This might be the game of the year, guys. I'm sorry. It's kind of amazing. It's it's at least like the most in some sense at least it's like the most impressive design that I've seen in a long time. It's just really amazing. What are the topics for the videos? Have I said anything about any of them yet? I don't really like saying too much. Because one, because I change my mind a lot. And I want to start from scratch and whatever a lot. But I think we're kind of getting to the end of that era. I kind of have like 5 different like writing projects for that will hopefully turn into videos in progress. All of which I think are really good, all of which I actually really want to make. And yeah, I've had to, I'm not happy with the way that I was like recording, like the way that I was speaking on the videos that I've done in the past. Like I've made a bunch of you know videos talking about various game topics in the past, but I just always think it sounds so much better when I just talk off the cuff on stream and stuff. But I also want it to be a little more dense than the stream and follow a little bit more of a like coherent you know structure of talking about things in a certain order that makes sense compared to the stream where I just kind of ramble. So trying to figure out the best way to give myself room to speak naturally instead of fully scripting it, while also hitting all the points in the right order, has been a little bit weird for me. I haven't really done that before, but I think I figured it out, and I'm hoping that I will get a video out this week. And it is, I don't know, I still don't want to say what it's about. I still don't want to say what it's about. I will just say, okay, instead of talking about what the video is about, let's talk about Big Walk. Okay, let's talk about Big Walk, which I have been playing a lot this week, and is Misa will force me to get a video out this week. Yeah, the topic, but yeah, I'll just say the topics are like very different from one another. Like if you enjoy these streams at all, there will be at least a couple of the videos that you are interested in, I think. But I'll just say one I started working on just this week, and it's a smaller one, and I'm going to try to do it first. And I started working on it kind of in response to Big Walk, because Big Walk is just really good in a way that in multiple ways that games are not often good to me anymore. It's a friend gem for sure. Yes, for sure. First of all, I'll just recommend playing Big Walk. If you should try your best to get a good group together to play Big Walk. I think it supports anywhere from 2 to 12 players, but I would say probably 5 or 6. I've been playing with 5. Um, 5 or 6 like regular people, that's I know it's not always easy to like get the same group together over and over like on a regular basis, but yeah, I think it's worth it for this game. I think it's really good. Um, it's kind of like, how do I pitch Big Walk? In a sense, the meat of the game is these like Breath of the Wild shrine puzzles, kind of. It's like if Breath of the Wild shrine puzzles required multiple people. Here's the sense in which it is like Breath of the Wild shrines. There's an open world. You walk around and you stumble upon little challenges that are like more or less isolated. And it's also like Breath of the Wild shrine puzzles in that there's not like a strictly enforced solution. There are often ways to kind of cheese or semi-cheese it, but I think they do a much better job than Breath of the Wild, not making the cheeses so stupid that you're like, okay, that was nothing. It's like, if you figure out a good way to cheese it, you're like, it feels exciting or funny or good or whatever. But it's also just different multiplayer, right? Like these are generally designed so that you have to figure out a strategy or a way of doing this that involves cooperation. Often you are strategizing around the communication. You're figuring out how you can communicate and how you can organize your group to get something done together. And that's just something that's underexplored in games, right? Like there's a lot of potential there for like just interesting brain feel, interesting new ideas that you haven't seen in other games. But that's not the majority of the game. That's actually like a pretty small, if you were to like divide up the playtime of Big Walk, that's like a pretty small fraction of the playtime. A lot of the playtime, if you're just like watching as an outsider, like looking at the screen, and especially like not hearing the communication or anything, like it might look very boring, like a lot of it is just on paper. You're just like walking around doing like, walking around this world, falling off a cliff, climbing up a mountain, walking over here, walking over there. So there's more than that, like to the navigation. There's like, there's a day night cycle and it gets very dark at night, and there's like interesting things happen around just like simple stuff like that. But in a sense, it might seem very boring. But I think for me, a big part of the appeal of the game is seeing. It's hard to explain this, but like the game is really well designed as like a collider, as like a what's like a particle, whatever you call that in physics. It's like you're putting you and your friends into this machine that's gonna it's gonna like centrifuge, maybe. I don't know. I'm imagining some metaphor where the game is like this big machine, and you and your friends are like the particles that go into the machine, and then it bangs you all together and makes crazy stuff happen. Like it's like you're the overall like process that unfolds as you play the game, and how the overall playthrough unfolds is like this beautiful emergent thing that emerges out of the personalities of your group. It's the friends particle accelerator. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the particular way that each of you is really matters a lot, and it's like that's what the game is kind of about in a way. Like the all of the little funny moments that unfold, and the way that like, oh, you have this item and then this friend gets annoyed by the way that you're messing around with it, so he just like kicks it off a cliff and now you just don't have it, but then maybe someone jumps off and chases it because they really wanted it, or they get mad or whatever. Like it's these long sequences of things that unfold. It kind of reminds me that in that way that I was just describing with the particle accelerator, it kind of reminds me of like a normal game, like a normal game like Spelunky, for example. Like a couple streams ago, I think I was talking about Spelunky and how a big part of the appeal is like seeing all these different types of objects in the game and how they can interact. Like, oh, this, this thing is, I understand how this exploding frog works, and I understand how this key works, and I understand how this object works, but somehow the game manages to constantly surprise me. Even though I've played it for 50 plus hours, it manages to surprise me when the frog explodes and it knocks the key over here and the key gets picked up by this guy, and then this guy, like some crazy sequence of events happens, and it's like the emergent properties of this very simple like system of rules, right? It's like Big Walk is like that for like who you and your friends are and who you are together. It's very interesting if you kind of if you can get into that headspace to view it like that, to view the whole playthrough like that. But yeah, it's not just interesting in that way. It's like the puzzles are genuinely good. The puzzles are genuinely like getting into interesting territory that I haven't seen in any other games. Like I've always felt like proximity chat stuff has so much potential that other games have not done a very good job of exploring yet. So yeah, there's just that kind of stuff. There's just so many little charming, interesting things. Yeah, I think that's a good enough pitch though. It's not a normal kind of game, but that's good. It's a really it does what it does better than anything else I can think of. And the other thing about it is, and this is like a very general thing that I feel like games have not quite figured out yet, at least in my mind, like the types of games that I like have not managed. It's like they haven't figured out how to do what I like in games and do this, which is like when I'm watching a movie. I'm curious how other people feel about this. When I'm watching a movie, often the experience of watching the movie feels like, the word that comes to mind is nourishing. Like it's like I am feeling refreshed by watching this movie, and it's still really interesting, right? It's not like mindless slop that I'm just like, putting on to veg out and like, hopefully recharge after like a hard day of work or whatever. It's like, no, the movie is giving me a lot of interesting things to think about. It's like doing something really new and strange and good that I care about, but it's also, it doesn't feel draining. Like it's not like it's constantly asking me to think super hard or whatever. Whereas like, I feel like most games, like the vast majority of games that I get a lot out of, they aren't, they might be like that in some ways while I'm playing them, but they're not like unambiguously nourishing or unambiguously like not draining. Like there's always at least like one aspect or one way in which the game is like kind of fatiguing, right? Like there might be, like I might get sick of doing like precision jumps after a while of playing, after like a couple hours of playing one game, or I might, a lot of my favorite games are like, difficult puzzle games, right? Like that asks you to do a certain kind of like deductive, conscious reasoning process that gets that gets very fatiguing. If you just sit there doing it for a while, like even any amount of it, it's not like if you sit there doing it for a while, you're going to eventually want to take a break. But even if you just play for a few minutes, it is like taking something out of you. Like there's a cost that's not just your time spent with the game or the money that you spent buying the game. There's some cost associated with the good things that you're getting out of the game, and it's like you have to recharge that part of your brain separately outside of the game. It's like, yeah, I just don't think games have quite figured out the right balance there for me, or like the perfect balance. And I don't want, I I will say I don't want to sound like this is a universal good or like there's a universal ideal here because like competitive games are obviously like very high intensity, like draining, whatever. Like you play a couple matches of chess as a serious chess player, like it's gonna wear you out. It's gonna take a lot out of you. And like, Syncopause was like that for me. Like I played it for years, a little bit every day, and I felt like that was the ideal way to play it. And yeah, I think for those type of games, that's completely fine and maybe even ideal. But I do think we're missing this other thing in games where a game can be really interesting and really rich and rewarding and give you something special that you can't get anywhere else, but it's also really it just feels unambiguously good to play. It's not taking a lot out of you in any particular way. And yeah, big walk anyway. Big walk big walk goes really really far in that direction compared to most games. It's like I said, because a lot of the parts of it, a lot of parts of the playthrough will feel very low key, very like you could even I'm sure people think that they're boring, right? But like somehow that fits into the frame as an essential part of the experience. And yeah, so there's that. There's like the low key. There's the more low key moments balancing out the more high intensity like puzzles and stuff. But there's also just like the fact that it's co-op kind of does an automatic balancing kind of thing on the experience. It has a the fact that it's not just you has a way of automatically balancing the experience. What I mean by that is like everyone has their own like tendencies. Like my tendency is maybe more like optimize the route through the game and like get to the next objective and do things as quickly as possible. I tend a little bit towards that. There might be other people in my group that tend a little bit more towards like goofing off all the time and just like joking around and messing like trying to prank each other and stuff. And the fact that everyone is together kind of has a way of balancing out those tendencies and like making the overall experience feel more balanced. Um, yeah, this has all been very high level. Hopefully, I didn't like spoil anything about Big Walk. Hopefully, in fact, I primed you to appreciate Big Walk more. But yeah, I really yeah, totally. Those disparities help add tensions, which contribute to the game's comedy. Yeah, totally. Um, anyway, loved the game. I'm not quite done with it. I mean, we have like finished it, but not finished it. Finished it is what I'll say. Uh, yeah, that's something in all of the stuff that I just said is maybe what you'll get a video about this week, and then hopefully more videos will quickly follow after that as I kind of lock in or lock down my process and how I want to make these videos. But yeah, we're entering a new arc with the channel, and it's gonna be fire. Okay, that's the update, I guess. Do we want to? We're ready to talk about the memes. Ready to talk about the memes. Is anything else? Is anything else like coming out that's interesting? Well, any other games y'all are excited about? I guess I'd be hearing about it on the Discord if there were things. Okay. Starting off with a heavy hitter classic. The Jizz tier list. How's it going, Simon? Okay. Wait, I have the full size things. Okay, starting off with the classic. Um, I mean, I think about it a lot. How I don't know exactly how I'm Yeah, this is okay. This is maybe we should do a little bit of framing around what this list is going to be. Um, okay, so first I'll just say this is game design memes tier list, right? However, I'm using a pretty loose definition of game design and also a pretty loose definition of memes, I think. I don't know. I just use my best judgment. If it seemed like it was enough about game design and enough of like a recognizable mimetic thing, I I included it. Um but yeah, how are we judging these? I think I'm judging these on complete gut feel. But then you know, I'll say what I can say about them and okay, I think I'm going to initially place them by just pure gut feel. And then I'll say what I can say about them and then reassess, see if my gut feels different afterwards. How good they are as a meme plus how true they are. Well, I think that's what my gut is feeling. I think that's what I got in my gut. Cuz what else would be in there? Uh yeah, I think okay, back to Sonic. Wait, where did my thing go? Back to Sonic. I think I'm feeling like an A on this. I might be feeling an S on this. That feels bad right off the bat. Well, I don't know if I'm ready to go straight to S, but I do like Sonic's expression and everything. Like, where did this image come from? Do I want to know? Um, yeah, I mean, let me see. Do I actually literally agree with this? I want shorter games. That's maybe the part that I disagree with the most. I often like when games are long, but it depends on the type of game. Like if it's a single playthrough kind of game, I often like it when it's long. But if it's a you know roguelike or competitive game, I often like really short rounds. Um, so yeah, this one I guess depends. But with worse graphics, I guess it would have been more true at the time that this was made. I think we've maybe trended a little bit towards shorter games since this meme was originally made. I don't know how old this is, but I feel like it's at least 10 years old. Oh. Right, and yeah, and definitely in the even today in the context of whatever the current AAA story game is. But I think most people nowadays play like, Slay the Spire and stuff like that that have like a shorter loop. Um but yeah, it is obviously in reference to like AAA slop. AAA big budget whatever, movie, open world, blah blah blah. Yeah, well, look, part of okay, when you're making a meme, you can't use the precise language that exactly pins down with no room for objection what it is that you're trying to say, right? Like the meme would not be better if this was like a 10-word phrase describing exactly what they mean by worse graphics. Like just having with worse graphics is better, right? Because we know what they mean in the context. We know what they mean in the but yeah, it is and this we'll get into this with a lot of these other memes. The meme itself might be good and might strike me as very good, but then I see it I see it being used in a really annoying way, uh, such as maybe this one, maybe this one right here. Um, and even I guess in this case it was originally used in an annoying way. Probably I don't exactly remember the original usage, but anyway, with worse graphics, I mean, yeah, like if you interpret this charitably, I do agree with that as well. Like I don't think we're benefiting from like I want better art style and worse graphics, you know? Um but then also like I've written about this before. Did I tweet about this? I, yeah, I think I ended up saying something about this on Twitter a little while back about how like Angel Game is actually better because it has worse graphics, but because it has like not just like not AAA graphics, but like the graphics are perfect for what it is because it is it makes it as readable as possible, and that actually lets you go deeper on the info processing layer, which is like the main bottleneck for you being able to do more complex moves and do, at least when you get decent at the game, once you get good enough at the game to like, do the execution well enough, your main bottleneck to being better at the game is like how quickly can you process all of this stuff that's happening on the screen. And the fact that the graphics are so quote unquote bad in Angel Game actually makes it actually makes it easier to do that than if it was like all these complicated textures and whatever. But yeah, of course I want games to look good. Yeah, I'm not. I don't think it's a bad. I don't think it's a bad part of the meme. I'm just clarifying how I actually feel. Made by people who are paid more to work less. So, I think. I mean, I have a hard time relating to this because I'm happiest when I'm working more, not less. But that's because I'm working on like my own projects that I'm really motivated on. So I guess I would want people to be working on projects that they think are genuinely cool, and be paid more and work a normal amount or like a reasonable amount. Like, I mean, there is something about like working less, like when you're not just like miserable every day from like grinding super hard, like you can you work better. Like you just have better ideas, unless it's like the most brain dead grunt work imaginable. Like we're talking about making art here, right? Like we're talking about making games. So like, yeah, I think people need the space to like take breaks when they need to and be healthy and have other things going on in their life that will inspire them and things like that. But I don't know, that's an idealist thing, obviously. But yeah, I think more or less I genuinely agree with this. I think I'm gonna go A tier. I think I'm gonna go A tier for now. I might move it around. Might move them around later. Yeah, obviously related. Yes, 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 yes. Obviously, this is all in relation to AAA. And yes, I don't think that AAA Crunch is good. I think that should go without saying. Yes, bullet dodging slop is hard to play when there's complex backgrounds and crazy bullet sprites with animations. And I was even thinking about this with like Sectori. Like Sectori is, first of all, I love Sectori and highly recommend it. That's my most recommended twin stick shooter and one of my most recommended games of like the last few years. But even that, which is not like super graphically, high graphical fidelity, like graphically intense compared to most games, you wouldn't typically look at Sectori and say the graphics are too good or whatever. Like you wouldn't typically look at it and say it's unreadable. I still noticed, like compared to something like Angel Game, I still noticed. I guess there is also like the part where the screen goes all rainbow, and that's like kind of intentionally hard to parse. But not even that is. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about like, you know, there's like little lines on the background of the screen because everything's built out of little triangles, and um, yeah. I think it could stand to be less. I think it could stand to have quote unquote worse graphics. And yeah, I think I want to be the guy avoidance with the super high readability is very very similar to Angel Game in the way that I was talking about. Okay, we've got Elon Musk. Now this again, loose interpretation of meme, but I see people posting this a lot, and um, look, like obviously this is a really stupid post, but like as a meme, I think it's great. Okay, yeah, I was actually just thinking this. I was actually just thinking this. I need to look up what Polytopia is. I need to look up what Polytopia is live on stream, okay? Uh I I actually don't know, or don't, maybe I knew at one point, but I don't remember. The Battle of Polytopia official World Championship, okay? Oh, this is live in 21 hours, my bad. Okay, highlights World Championship 2026. Is this a Zoomer game? This only has 55 views. Oh, well, 2 hours ago, but still, I kind of expected this to be like a giga popular game. Let's judge the game based on what these people look like. uh, okay, this is...
Meditation. Then on turn 5, Mixu purchases philosophy, forestry, mining, and smithery, giving him a huge tech advantage. Just 2 turns later, he gets his first 2 giants.
Are they like on the same map here? I guess they're on the same map?
And puts himself in a
Or no, I think we're just looking at Mixu.
commanding position.
It's like a completely non-overlapping game? Like,
Even further,
oh no, no, no. Oh no, 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 the blue guy's over here.
Mixu just throws the kitchen sink. And it pays off. He takes Liberator City for
I mean,
forces a resignation.
it kind of looks like a mobile game, but it kind of looks like Clash of Clans or something, like halfway in between Clash of Clans and StarCraft. But yeah, it seems like I'm not comfortable saying just from looking at this that this is a horrible game. Like it could be fine. But but yeah.
Next up is the semifinal match.
It is a mobile game.
Willibom opens the scoring with 2 giants on turn 7 that stare down TT's low-level cities.
Mixu could become a chess grandmaster, but Magnus Carlsen could never be in the Polytopia World Championships 2026 for 50 viewers. Yeah, I agree. Mobile 4X game? Okay, that makes me like it even less. I'm a huge 4X hater. Yeah, I don't love the lack of legibility here. Okay, let's try to think through this. Only 64 squares. Okay. Right off the bat, this is horrible because look at this. Look at this. I guess you can't really see the squares, but you can tell, right? There's 25 squares on the screen, and it's the best strategy game ever made. So like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're going the wrong direction. You're going the wrong direction. Saying only 64 squares. Like, I guess the theoretical problem, if there is a problem with chess being like too small or a competitive game being too small, I guess it would be just that I guess to try to be as charitable as possible here, maybe what he's thinking is like the same issue that he says later, no random spawn, which I do kind of think, and other, serious chess players throughout history have thought that is a problem. That's the part that I do really agree with. No random spawn. And so if we're looking at the first thing from that perspective, like maybe what he's trying to say is just like you get into the same situations too often, and he thinks that that's a problem that arises because the board size, when in reality, like Syncopause shows that you can have just different arrangements. Although then again, Syncopause has so much complexity that's like outside of what's sitting on the board, complexity in like what's on the wands, that maybe that's just not comparable. Anyway, I think this is I think it's stupid. No Fog of War. I mean, that's just why would it need Fog of War, man? This is like, like the witness doesn't have sword fighting. Like, okay. Like, who cares? No tech tree. Again, like, this is even worse. Like, Fog of War at least is something that I have seen used to good effect in games before, but tech trees, like, I'm struggling to think of a game. Can you guys think of a game that has a really good tech tree that adds a lot? I mean, adds a lot. I mean, I'm sure I could come up with one that like adds a lot, but like, what's like a top tier game of all time that has like that heavily relies on tech trees? For me, at least, there is not one. Yeah, when you promote a pawn, is that a tech tree? Syncopause has Fog of Room. I don't want to dig into that reframe. The implications of that. There are variants of chess with Fog of War and random spawn. Yeah, there's variants with random spawn, but that's not chess, right? Okay, only a few different pieces. again, this is just like, what is the game about? Okay, but part of my issue here is that, or part of my weird mixed feelings here is that I actually don't like chess that much, right? Like, I um I haven't played a ton of either, but from what I've played, I'm much more interested in playing a lot more of Go. Whereas chess, I feel like I get the appeal of chess just as much, really more from like games, right? Like I've talked about this before with Caramel Action, how that's like a certain tempo of kind of, it's like a certain kind of speed chess feel, but also like I get a lot of chess like thinking from like a lot of different turn-based strategy games. Um, but I think the thing that chess is uniquely good at is like pushing a certain type of, I don't know exactly how to describe it. Maybe I'm just not good enough at chess. Haven't gotten deep enough at chess to describe it. But I think the fact that it's a simple game in many ways, the pieces are, you know, there's not that many different pieces. For example, it the game goes all the way deep on a certain type of thinking and like planning and reading the board and understanding positions. Like there is a particular precise skill there that it goes all the way deep on. In the same way that Angel Game, you know, goes all the way deep on the info processing type of angle. Um, yeah. Whereas something like StarCraft or Polytopia or whatever, it just isn't that honing all the way in on that one thing. So this is just it's stupid in that way. Like even though I kind of agree a little bit with it, like how he criticizes chess, like chess is not as interesting to me as, you know, strategy games that are much more random and give you different situations. You know, when you have new situations to think about, you have to actually strategize in a certain sense. Um, you know, chess has a way of like devolving. The strategy tends to devolve into like familiarity with certain positions, you know, recognizing positions or mapping this onto a similar position that you've been in before and things like that. It has a way of devolving into that at higher levels. But anyway, this is enough rambling about this one. Um, yeah, this is. I feel like I have to rate it highly as a meme, though. I feel like I have to rate it highly as a meme. I, I think I think I might want to put it A. Okay, I'll put it B. I'll put it B. It's just yeah. Look, we're not saying that this is correct. We're just saying it's a good meme. My interpretation is trying to paint chess as having too few states. It reads as nonsense because he doesn't play games, doesn't understand them. Yes, for sure. Comes off like just trying to signal intelligence. Yeah, and it's funny because it's like so bad at that for anyone who knows anything about anything that like it almost feels like he's trying to parody himself. It's almost yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't, depending on how you think it makes sense to rank these things or to rate these things. I could see anywhere from S to F, but for me, I think I'm happy with B for now. I just have these weird mixed feelings about it, but it is very funny. Um, okay, okay, this one. I'm not gonna read them all. I will give you a moment to read. First of all, I like how the game design genius has spikes for hair, kind of. So this one is weird because it's kind of funny, you know. I mean, it's just pointing out a thing. There's a whole genre of these memes that we're gonna get to a bunch of them where it's kind of just pointing out a thing, a trope, or whatever. Um, you would trust that dude to design a video game? Actually, the thing is, the weird thing is like you want this, right? In a certain way at least, you want the fact that the spring can actually be a threat because it bounces you into spikes. Like you want that or the equivalent of that for any game. Like the thing where this thing has been useful, but here's how it can actually be bad as well. Like you want to see that. But it's also like if you do it in the most obvious way where you have you're progressing you're giving me one idea at a time through the game linearly, and now I get to the point where the good thing turns bad in this kind of predictable way. Like yeah, like that's it's pointing at something about game design where the thing can actually be good, but it's all about like how exactly you show that to me. And like for example, you could have just a more complex puzzle or like, level that demonstrates this idea where like it's not this thing that's happening, whatever this thing that you might think is a little bit predictable, whatever that thing is, it's not the only thing that's happening in the level. And maybe even like there's so much other new stuff happening in the level that you get caught off guard by this because it comes at you fast and you don't anticipate it, and then it's like, yeah, they got me with that. um but also just like maybe this is part of what's good about the bro like structure, like a structure that is a proc gen structure, like I've talked about many times, where things just happen. It's not a designed process of learning all of the different interactions that can happen in the game. It's like all of this stuff is just a thing that can happen in the game, and it can show up at any time. And you know his hair is like that because he jumped into the spikes. Wait, this actually feels like layers to this, like layers to this meme where this is actually a player who's salty that he got by the he put on his game design genius shirt to like pretend that you know that he's someone else, but actually this is just a player that's salty about getting got by the spikes. Wait, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I feel middle of the road about this one. I do think about this. I do think about this sometimes, but I like the phrasing, the humble spring and all that. But I'll put it C now. To be able to turn off my brain when I play video game. Uh, okay, you control the buttons you press. Yeah, see, this is one that I don't know how to feel about because it is literally true. You do control the buttons you press, but I do think that it has mostly been used for great evil. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Uh, does anyone know what the original context was? Because part of what's funny about this is that it's posted by the Doom account, um, on Twitter, but I don't remember the original context. Yeah, it's like good as a clapback, but like I kind of hate it when a clapback is good but wrong, right? That's like that's like a bad thing in the world. Oh wow, you got the link. What buttons you press? Oh, sorry, let me minimize the image. The new ice bomb will let you freeze demons in place in Doom Eternal. The new ice bomb? Oh, this is before Doom Eternal came out. I was thinking 2019 was after it, but yeah, that's before Doom Eternal. Well, we have an option to turn off that cannon and play classic, like good old times. I find this phrasing so funny. Um, yeah, I mean, this is a stupid response. I think. I think this is a stupid response in this context. Because, like, hopefully everyone just intuitively understands this, but a lot of people, hopefully everyone here intuitively understands this, but clearly a lot of people on Twitter don't. Because this comes up all the time, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Um, like I'm in this context, I'm thinking like, yeah, I control the buttons I press, and I'm gonna launch original Doom instead of Doom Eternal. It sounds like that's what he's saying to me. Like, I know that's not what he's saying. I know that he's saying you can just not use the ice cannon, but then you're not playing the game as it was designed. Like, if the game is good, then everything should bear on everything else in the design. Like this is annoying me. Um, every aspect of the game should be connected with every other aspect of the game in this dense network of meaningful ideas and properties that it should be a cohesive holistic work. And if I'm just and why would it be a good idea for me to just not press the ice not press the ice grenade button? Yeah, the game is not designed around not pressing the freeze grenade button. I mean, I'm actually sure they did think about players who will be overwhelmed by the number of buttons that they put in that damn game. So many buttons. And tried to make the game okay or playable, at least at lower difficulty levels for those kind of players. But yeah, if I'm trying to maximally appreciate the game, stupid, stupid, stupid. Uh, well, with all that flame begins. With all that flame begins. I didn't mean I hate. Oh, he's getting flamed, right? I didn't mean I hate that gun. Just asked about option. Anyway, got 2 pre-orders for Steam and Xbox. Box one with helmet. Box. I thought he was saying Xbox One when he said box one, but he's saying the box one, the physical version that comes with the helmet. This guy loves his helmets. Look at this. Anyway, let's not click on his profile and see the lewds. But all right. This is a great interaction. This lore is making me like the meme more. But yeah, there is a meme later in the tier list that addresses this. There's the clap back to this meme. You can't control the buttons you press. The developer had to add them in. I'm not quite sure I understand what he means by that. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I guess the reason that it's not F for me is that it is true, and there are contexts when this is the correct response. But yeah, the original context and the context that I usually see it used in, that ain't it. That ain't it. Yeah, you can get if you want to get the word for word bog hog response, I'll try again to respond to that. But yeah, you've literally never seen someone use it correctly. I feel like I have. Maybe I haven't, but I don't know. Just in my head, I feel like I can't give it an F because it just is true. like there and also it's annoying because a lot of the people who I see clapping back to this, like, the people I see responding to this are the people who I see doing the wrong version of controlling the buttons you press, right? They are controlling the buttons they press in the way that's like actively annoying for everyone and has no useful purpose. Like, for example, in the Electric Underground discourse around Resident Evil 9, it's like, I'm going to reload this checkpoint over and over again to like minimize my playtime because like that's my idea. It's like, you don't have to do that. Like, you just don't have to do that. You can just play the game that's in the natural, fun way. Anyway, you don't control the buttons you press. The developer had to program them in. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like that's a particularly crisp way of isolating the problem with the meme, but maybe I'm just not understanding it correctly. From a game design perspective, it's a bad excuse for including extraneous options that make a game worse. Yes. From an individual player perspective, your personal goal should be to maximize your own enjoyment and not fall into temptation of ruining your own fun. Yes, I 100% agree with that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Okay. Okay. Oh, I have to close the other window. The difficulty enjoyer. The difficulty, quote unquote, enjoyer. Now, this kind of goes back to what I was just saying about Big Walk and stuff. And you might think based on what I was just saying about Big Walk that I don't like this, but look, I'm not saying that every game has to be Big Walk. And like I said, most of the vast majority of the games that I get the most out of these days are really hard slash intense slash like draining, at least a little bit like draining in some way, right? They ask something of you, right? Like games generally if you want to make a game more interesting, you have to ask more of the player. So it's natural that these unbig walk like game kinds of games will generally be the most rewarding. So, yeah, with that in mind, no surprise that I like this meme. I mean, the meme is kind of making fun of this perspective that it's good to take breaks, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know if it was originally I don't know if it was originally made. Yeah, I don't know whether it was originally made making fun of them or defending them, but I mean it obviously looks like it's making fun of them, but it was so quickly adopted by the people who do exactly this or more or less this that it's like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean I do this, right? I do this. I like the drawing, the face the face is perfect, the perspective, they're kind of looking down on him and he's got the flip-flops and the shirt, the sign. It's just all good. It's just all good and you should genuinely do this, right? Like if you're struggling to enjoy a game because it's really hard, but you want to get into it, you should do this. You should approach games this way. Like it's a childish thing to do to like try to play a game and hit a wall and then just drop the game forever. Like that's I don't know. It depends. It depends on the situation, but I feel like it's childish. Okay. Yeah, I think it's easy S tier. This one. This one. Can you is it it's readable. Yeah, first S tier. So the pretentious game makes me kill the dog, and then it tries to make me feel bad about it. Now, I I have to say I dropped Spec Ops the line after like an hour or something. I just thought it was boring. I didn't believe that it was going anywhere interesting. So I don't know how much I have to say about this. Um, I feel like maybe the meme is. I'm guessing that the meme is kind of being kind of reductionist, being kind of reductive about what's actually going on, or maybe like thinking about it from the wrong perspective. Like I don't like. Okay, I like The Last of Us 2, right? And it kind of does something like this, but like, I feel like if you're thinking about it this way, if you're thinking about it in the way that would lead you to make this meme about it, you're not setting yourself up to maximally enjoy the game. Um, Maybe part of it is just like when you've played a lot of games in your life, like I have, probably most of us here have, like it's hard to it's hard to really think of the dog in a game as a dog, Everything is a game object. Like this is what Matthew Matosis talked about in his aesthetic deception video. The part one of the parts of his aesthetic deception video that is just true and not like a weird a weird take uh is when he's talking about, the graphics, the graphics and audio and everything in the game, that is it's somehow representing, it's an imperfect representation of what's actually true in the world of the game, right? What's actually true is like the code. There's there's objects being represented in the code, and the graphics attempt to represent those to you, and it's like, yeah, that always makes it kind of weird when you play these like story games that like want you to relate to the character in you know, want you to quote unquote be. They like treat they assume that you are thinking of yourself as the main character, like as the protagonist in a certain way that I don't really naturally think of myself anymore, because I know what a video game actually is and how it actually works. And like you're thinking of this dog actually as a dog. Like, I don't know, maybe though, like I can play The Last Guardian and appreciate Trico as a thing, but so maybe it's just a craftsmanship issue, and these quote unquote pretentious games are not uh are a little bit too, are doing something a little bit too stupid and simplistic to actually work. I don't know. Yeah, I agree that it's not a particularly funny meme. Yeah, inelegant meme. I'm sure there are better ways to express it. Hate when people claim Shadow of the Colossus is like this. Yeah, my general impression is that people overreach are overreaching with this. Like they look at this and they are thinking of games that I don't feel like it's true of at all, and you just need to have a different perspective. I don't know. I have a hard time explaining what the right perspective is. This is that it's just a whole rabbit hole. It's like a massive rabbit hole that I could probably talk about for 3 hours. So I don't think I want to get into that right now. Um, yeah, it feels like a straw man. That's a good way of putting it. It feels like a straw man to me. Yeah, yeah. In Shadow of the Colossus, I mean, we're getting into spoilers for Shadow of the Colossus here, which is maybe bad, but it is a 22-year-old game. But I don't know, when I play something like that, I don't identify with the character. I don't think that I'm the character. And so when you see that something bad has happened, it's like, yes, something has happened as a result of this character's actions. That wasn't me in a certain sense. I don't know. I don't, maybe that's wrong of me somehow. Maybe there's some way in which I'm failing to appreciate games by having that perspective, but I don't think I often relate to the character and see the game judging the character as judging me. At least or at least it or at least like I see myself as in charge or responsible. I see myself as responsible for the actions of the character that I actually had a choice about. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. And this is the weird, one of those weird things about story games that's just deeply broken if you really look at it closely. Is like, if you take a very broad view of the term ludonarrative dissonance, there's ludonarrative dissonance all in there, and it's completely unavoidable in this kind of topic. When you think about like, I don't know, I can't fully explain it right now, but there's a deep weirdness there. Does Syncopause have memes? People have made memes about Syncopause, yeah, for sure. But I'm doing stuff. I'm doing, general game design type of stuff here. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, there was a LeBron meme that was really good. The Syncopause. It is LeBron, right? It's like LeBron reportedly just did this. There's one of those for Syncopause that was really good, made by Dark Triad in the Discord. Anyway, I don't know. I think we generally agree that this is not a good one. I think we generally agree that not a great meme. You're forced to do something in the story. Are you actually playing it, or is it just a movie with QTEs? I mean, you're not playing it. I'm not going to get into this topic right now. This is so. This is a can of worms, and also we got a lot to get through here. Um, another time though. Another time. I gotta not let myself get distracted by every single chat question. Yeah, we got the perfect distribution right now. But yeah, I feel like that's F. I don't see it adding anything to the discourse. Okay, this one. I don't know if you can read everything here. Should be able to mostly read everything. This is, this is a representative of this entire genre of memes. Like there's also the Ocarina of Time. Um if Ocarina of Time were a I guess I should have done the Mario if it were AAA. But this is a little bit different than that. I guess this kind of has overlap with the whole Mario AAA cinematic slop video. But yeah, I was thinking about the Ocarina of Time like fire dungeon where like the Gorons are you have to save the Gorons and Grundle. There's a storyline about Grundle and all that stuff. Um there's tons of these, but let's just narrow it down to the UI slop. The UI slop versions. Some games need this level of UI. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I I mean, some games are just menus, you know? Some games are literally just menus. Um Universal Paperclips has this level of UI, I guess. But we all know what this meme is talking about. This is talking about what if Elden Ring were a Ubisoft game? You got to climb the towers. It's got a million tutorials. There's tutorial button prompts all over the screen. There's this like celebratory level up text. There's the talking to himself with subtitles, telling you where to go. There's these quest things. There's apparently a journal. There's there's not only question marks. I never realized this. There's not only question marks on the mini map, but there's also the question marks appear on the overworld as well, which is incredibly annoying. The distance to the places, message of the day, new items are available. Um, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. It's really played out at this point, right? And also just like this thing at the bottom, the skill bar is not so much Ubisoft slop as like MMO slop, I guess. So maybe this is trying to make it into MMO slop, but then it's got this activate tarnished sense. I don't know, it's kind of funny. I'm feeling C tier. I don't think there's that much to say about it. It's pretty played out, but what we'll judge the whole category as like, you know, the general idea of this meme is kind of funny. Gotcha games, yeah, I'm not familiar enough with gotcha games to recognize if that's what it's joking about. Critique of AAA game structure, but yeah, but that connects very deeply with the UI, and the UI is how it's communicating that. But yeah, you're right. Symptom of maximalist game design. Well, not even maximalist game design. It's like maximalist like gamification design, you know? I I I I dislike the kind of habitual reach for the term game design to describe what we just looked at, right? Like we should think about game design as the noble act of making interesting experiences for people, and we should think of something else. We should have a different term for whatever the hell that was. Uh, okay. Thank you for giving me the context for that, Misa. Um, the words overwhelming the space when the space should matter, for sure. For sure. All right. Another banger right here. Give you a minute to read it. solving the equations in my head while you guys read it. Got it. Good one. Mm. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one. I mean, the problem is it's clearly. Did Boghog make this? I think Boghog might have made this, and like it's clearly coming from a. It's coming from a perspective that's not exactly salty about Metroidvanias being a thing or successful or a thing that people love or whatever, but like it's clearly coming from a perspective of not liking them. But at the same time, this is like I agree with this. Like I feel this way. I obviously wouldn't say it like this and put my fingers to my forehead or to my temple or whatever. But I feel this way. Like I look at a regular Metroidvania, like Metroidvanias especially. It's like I have played the entire game the instant that I see it for 1 second in a trailer. Like it just looks so boring and generic. Like the vast majority of the time I see like a Metroidvania or like a Metroidvania or like a typical roguelite of the currently popular variety. Isn't The Witness a Metroidvania? I mean, yeah, I like games that are described as Metroidvanias. I mean, it's a pretty loose descriptor, but like people call Outer Wilds Metroidvania. I love Outer Wilds. I love The Witness. Recently I enjoyed Emurom, which is definitely in that category. Uh, you wouldn't call Tunic a Metroidvania, I guess. But I think it's at least got some of those elements, and I love Tunic. Um, uh, but yeah, also the conlang deciphering elements, like that is not the defining thing of a Metroidvania to me. And in fact, often it is the dumbest thing in a Metroidvania, right? If you're trying to make a game, when people try to make a game that's in the same vein as Fez and uh Tunic and stuff like that, like that's like the thing that they put in the game, and often it's very uninspired. Often it's, if you don't do something specifically very new with that, if you're making it so that I have to decipher a constructed language in the game, and you don't have a really big new idea for why that is actually going to be interesting, then it's just busy work. It's just boring. It's like annoying that you're making me get out a notepad and do that. However, there is a lot of potential there for, like, it can be interesting to have to. It can make for very interesting a very interesting learning process and kind of puzzle process to figure out a new constructed language. Um, yeah, but yeah, the thing that's good about Metroidvanias is that they kind of are about learning, right? Like Metroidvanias, you could say, is a genre that's like about progression, right? It's about getting stronger and being able to do more and more things. But if you've played a few Metroidvanias, you know what that entire arc looks like. Whereas Metroidvanias, you can say, are a genre about learning. And what that means for the design, if you want people to care about the game, is that you kind of have to do something new, or at least there's a natural incentive to do something new, because you can't learn something that you've already learned before in a different game. You can't just put out a Metroidvania that's the exact same as another Metroidvania that exists, or a bunch of existing ones put together. Like, it kind of has to have new ideas so that you can have an interesting, like, learning trajectory, because that's the appeal of the game, is the process of learning all of these things, figuring them out. In Yeah, and that process, making that process interesting is your goal, is your primary goal, maybe, as a Metroidvania designer. So, this, I don't know. This is not really analyzing. I'm not really getting at why the meme is good, but I think we all agree that it's funny. But those are the feelings that it stirs up in me. I think I'm gonna go. I think I might have to go S tier. I don't know. It's either A or S. The fact that it's clearly like trying to poke fun at me a little bit, but I find it so hilarious anyway. I think I have to put it S tier. Machinarium, I don't think really fits in because it's most well. I guess it depends on the point and click, but usually Metroidvanias, usually point and click puzzles are a little bit unnatural in the sense that like it's just some arbitrarily defined thing that you have to do. Like I'm going to put this bottle under the I'm going to put this bottle in the toilet so that someone's going to pee in it, and then I'm going to bring the pee bottle to the plant to, because this person's pee has the whatever. It's like all this like random like the logic. It's not like a real. It's not a real logic. It's a logic that the game designer made up, and um, you can't reasonably solve that most of the time, or at least point and click type of game designers typically aren't very good at making that very like reasonably solvable. And so you end up just trying different items on different things and trying a bunch of random crap. Yeah, moon logic is the accepted term. But like yeah, that's actually very different from something like Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is much more like a Sokoban style puzzle game, what we would normally think of as a puzzle game nowadays, where in Outer Wilds, there are rules to how the world works, and the puzzles generally revolve around understanding how these mechanics in the game work and taking advantage of kind of edge cases with the mechanics or weird things about how this world works. And so it's a much more like natural kind of difficult. It feels more natural, it feels more fair. It's also just more consistently enjoyable. You can generally trust that what you're missing is not something really stupid. I've not played Fears to Fathom. Don't know what that is. Okay, gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving. This is part of a very broad genre of these kind of memes. There's I guess it's not really. There's this is kind of one particular thing, but it's part of the genre of just like pointing out this, you know, kind of it's kind of silly that this thing happens in games a lot. I don't know. This is this doesn't particularly get me. Doesn't particularly get me. I think first of all, I think it's not necessarily a bad thing if the game actually works like this. I mean, I guess if it's bad, if it's truly a bad ending that makes you feel bad, that's one thing, but like an ending that's like mildly satisfying and you could see yourself wanting to stop there, and then there's a super secret good ending that makes you do a bunch of crazy stuff, that can be fine. I do think a lot of the time it's like what this makes me think of is something where it's really stupid and it's a bunch of like I never would have figured this out myself. Like I'm imagining the La Mulana, like how to get to hell in La Mulana, which is some absolutely insane thing. Cave Story is like this. I kind of thought Cave Story was reasonable to get the good ending, or not too unreasonable to get it without like a guide. Like I'm imagining stuff that you kind of need a guide to figure this out. I don't know. This one, it's whatever. I'm going D tier. I don't have that much to say about it. Just play Outer Wilds if you somehow are here and haven't played it yet. I agree. One of my friends just played Outer Wilds and the DLC, like blew through both of them, and has a new favorite game, and that could be you right now. That could be you right now. There's some stuff in it like hanging out with the NPC. Oh, you're talking about Cave Story? Okay. Okay. Next meme. Next meme. Welcome to the indie game scene. So these are the types of indie games from this person's perspective. We've got the homage. You remember this genre? Well, here is a facsimile of it. Will it push the genre forward? No. And we've got a red Mega Man. We got Mega Man, but he's red. Uh, the Tumbly Man, or sorry, the novelty game, usually just sold on one gimmick or a quirky name. And then we've got the Tumbly Man. What is he holding? Am I supposed to understand what he's holding or what's on his? Does he just have like bells on his limbs? Mascot horror created solely to create a fan base. Has lore, the lowest form of storytelling. Do you remember when horror had subtext about societal issues? And then we've got a cartoon character from 97, but he's evil. But why does it say '07 on his shirt? Not quite sure what's going on there. Is that supposed to be Goku or something? Oh, physics limbs game. Oh, those are pegs that he's climbing. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, good read. Good read. Earthbound Whinge Fest. Yick spoke of these. I don't know much about Yick. Uh, but I vaguely know what we're talking about. And then we've got Boomer Shooter, 92% chance of actually being an arena shooter made by someone born after the towers fell. And then we've got with the same exact shitty drawing, we've got Cruelty Squad was a mistake. This is the part that I most agree with, I think. This is the part that most strikes me as like, thank you for saying this. What an uncreative person thinks creativity looks like. I kind of talked about this when I talked about strange games. I made that video about strange games. It's like what all great games have in common or something like that. There's a type of shallow originality that is not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about strangeness, you know? When I want strangeness in games. Cruelty Squad is not what I'm talking about. Although this kind of thing can be good. This kind of like overstimulation, crazy, like, you know, there have been Zoomer memes that just cut from one meme to the next for like 30 seconds or whatever. You know, it's you know the genre of meme that I'm talking about. This like overstimulating, blown out audio nonsense sequence of Zoomer memes. There have been those that really got me, that I've really liked. So Cruelty Squad was great though. Yeah, I should clarify that I have not played it. So just this general just the thing that Cruelty Squad makes me think, which it makes me think about. Yeah, not a fan. Better with Friends game tricks you into playing some bullshit with the allure of doing it with a friend. Yeah. And then Cozy Farming game, just this again. I mean, it's kind of true. It's penny it's a lot. This is a maximalist meme here. It's there's some humor in it for sure. It also feels a little bit annoying just that it's annoying in the same way that it's annoying when people generalize about indie games on Twitter all the time, like, you know, every indie game is a roguelite or whatever. Like that's just not my experience. Like I play almost nothing but indie games these days, and very few of the games that I play fit into these categories. I mean, you know, I just played Big Walk and it fits into the better with friends, obviously. But like, yeah, I mean, I'm playing a lot of puzzle games. I'm playing a lot of action games that are clearly not homages or novelty or whatever, you know, like playing a lot of like unique platformers. And yeah, it just doesn't ring true in terms of the indie game scene as a whole. I don't know when this was made, but yeah, I was about to say maybe because there's no mention of roguelites or whatever, this is a pretty old thing, but Cruelty Squad is pretty recent, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. This one's okay. There's some humor in it, but I'm not crazy about it overall. Makes me feel like I don't fully agree with it. C, D, not exactly sure. I'm gonna go with D. It's just no, I don't know. I like the Tumbly Man. Let's go C. Okay, I included this one. Why did I include this one? I don't remember actually. It's not really about game design. I think when I was looking at this one, I was just thinking, oh, this is kind of representative of this entire genre of like, you dropped Persona after this many hours, or but it's also kind of the meme in general is you see it used in related to games related topics a lot, game design related topics a lot, because games are mm, probability and you know risk and things like that, and betting on things. That's kind of what games are about. That's like one of the core topics of games as a form, I feel like. So it kind of feels like it's about games, but I still don't really know why I included this. It's not really, this is not a game design meme. uh yeah, yeah, even this image is an iteration of the original, but yeah, this is what the image is actually about. But I don't know why I included this, but I'm putting it in B. I'm putting it in A as a representative of the whole. I don't know, that it kind of feels too low for a representative of the whole genre. Okay, we'll just rate this meme for some reason, and that'll be B. Okay. Yeah, my favorite one of those digging through a game memes is the one about Persona 5 that's like it's like the fixed version. It's like someone made a meme that's like, you gave up on Persona 5 after 10 hours, you were almost at the gems. It's like I think I can't remember exactly what it was, and I think I tried to find this on Twitter and it got deleted since it was originally posted. But it was something like, the fixed version of the meme is like you're digging to get to the good part of Persona 5, and then it's like all garbage when you actually get there after 20 hours. And then like off in a tiny corner of the meme over here, there's like a few gems and it has an arrow pointing to those gems and it says found on Spotify. That's my favorite that's my favorite of those. Yeah, this is a weird one. This is a weird one. Um I like the use of the Calvin and Hobbes format. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's part of what this makes me think about is the action puzzle thing. Like I have kind of I have kind of done a take similar to this before of like there's two types of games. There's action games and puzzle games. There's or punch and think. Those are the two genres. And I think that's kind of true, like more than people realize. Like there's like what how many games do not ultimately boil down to some kind of puzzle strategy thing where you're thinking you're thinking about what's the best thing to do, or you're like doing the action thing. Some games are books too, but you can yeah, but that's a third category that's not really games in the traditional sense, you know what I'm saying? It's video games, but it's not games. Think fast, think slow. Yeah, that's another way that I've categorized it before. You can think of a spectrum from think fast to think slow, and all games fall somewhere on that spectrum. um, but yeah, so maybe this is it's almost like this is trying to get at that concept, which I think is very true. The think fast, think slow concept. Chess changes genres when you play bullet versus traditional. It changes, yeah, it moves along the spectrum. I think I still wouldn't call it an action game, but I don't know. It's complicated. It's complicated, and really, like some games are action and strategy, whereas some games are like all the way one, whatever. Where do I fall on the spectrum? I will leave that as an exercise to the viewer to diagnose me with whatever you wish. Um, I thought Polytopia was chess with Fog of War. I think Misa is downstairs laughing at me getting diagnosed with autism. Um, yeah, I like the use of the Calvin and Hobbes meme because this is like there's this like I don't know if this is the automatic like understanding of this original. I don't know. Maybe this is just what's funny about the original Calvin and Hobbes panel, but like there's this like child psychology, like developmental psychology concept that I've heard about or read about or something where like there's just different stages. Like you're supposed to understand what stage of development your child is in and not like make like they are appreciating the magic of, hey, there's this box here that just magically plays music for me and for you to come in as a parent and try to break something down into some autistic explanation that you find interesting as an adult about like how this thing works or whatever, like that's just not the appropriate thing to do. And there's another level of depth to this because this is me breaking down this meme to you right now, which is what you don't want me to do. But anyway, yeah, this is like it's kind of when you see it that way, I find it interesting that when you look at the meme that way, it's making fun of the person who made this meme to explain this to you. It's like them making fun of themselves for doing this annoying explainer thing when you don't want to be thinking about games that way, probably. Um, and anyway, let's talk about the actual classification scheme here. For some reason, I just find the whole framing of the meme very interesting. But yeah, Counter Strike menus, Apex parkour, Counter Strike menus, Counter Strike menus. I mean, there's a menu. There are menus in the game. I guess there are a lot of different like game modes from like the main menu that you can go to. Yeah, looking at memes, I'll show you something interesting. Uh, yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't have thought that they would use the example Counter Strike. I mean, I can understand Apex being parkour more than Counter Strike because it's got actual like wall jumps and slides and stuff, whereas Counter Strike doesn't. And at least the way that most people play these two games, Counter Strike is more strategic, which seems to be what they're trying to suggest with menus. But it's just that's just a very strange way to start it. Like Baldur's Gate being menus makes a lot more sense to me. Minecraft being parkour makes more sense to me. Despite jumping around a lot, Destiny 2 is menus. I guess that's true. I guess. I don't know. It's this just strikes me as one of these ideas that I don't know. There's a certain kind of joke that's like not deeply true enough. It's not true. It's not true enough. It's like true enough to be like a little bit funny. Like this strikes me as silly when I hear it for the first time, but it would be funnier if it actually held up to scrutiny, right? It's just not true enough. Counter Strike being boldly called menus is your favorite part of the meme because you know it's true, but it's enough of a stretch that it's a really funny statement. I don't know that it's true. I don't know that it's true. To me, it's not true enough. You guys can disagree. I think I agree with Destiny as well, but uh, I think I'm gonna go D actually. I'm gonna go D. Okay. Counter Strike is the most menu shooter. Yeah, probably maybe so. Maybe so. Well, what about like Super Hot? I guess that's not a menu though. Anyway, there's a lot of misspellings in these memes in general. Okay. This one is like a stand-in for an entire genre that people were suggesting in the Discord. People were suggesting like actual memes. Like this is a tweet. This is not really a meme. But a lot of the a lot of the memes that I found were like kind of making fun of this kind of thing, kind of joking about this topic, joking in this particular way. And I think that this is the better version of all of those. This to me is the best version, the best iteration of this idea. Um Super hot is parkour. Okay, maybe I just don't understand what menus in parkour is supposed to mean then. But anyway, magical amulet. So, it's I think it really sticks the landing with like the absurdity of the 3% when your health is under 20% only if you're in the air. Like, yeah, I like that better than the other iterations of the idea, and also the fact that it's like emphasizing the importance of the treasure. Like, yeah, I don't know, some of the other versions of the meme just aren't as good, but yeah, it's pointing to something. It's pointing to something about game design. It's pointing to, I guess, also a ludonarrative dissonance thing, maybe, or like a weird thing that emerges when you do gameplay and story together. Where, although I don't know, does it actually have to be like this? Why does it have to? Why does it have to be a super special amulet every time? Why can't the guy who gave you the quest just like give you his some little trinket that's like, you know, it's fine, but it's not the most magical special thing ever. I don't know. This is just a thing. This is just a thing that's in AAA games that's stupid. Um. So yeah, not my favorite. Not my favorite kind of meme. I would say not my favorite kind of meme, and maybe just because I've seen so many of them that are kind of like this, but I have positive feelings about it overall. I think B is appropriate. Not exactly game design, but this is this is a behavior. This is a behavior that reflects an understanding of game design, how games actually the reality of making games and critiquing them and stuff. I I'm kind of doing this. I kind of be doing this sometimes. Um, yeah. I mean, I try to be a little bit more honest than this. Like this feels kind of dishonest, the way that it's happening here. But I definitely try to imagine what it's like for a normal player, and I understand that I am not a normal player. And I'll get back to this with when we get to this meme right here. When we get to this meme, I have some stuff to say about that. But yeah, it is just, I guess this is more of a game critic meme. This is a game criticism meme where you, I often feel this way in my head, and I have to say something a little bit more like this, because it's not even useful. It's not, you don't care what I think about it. I mean, you might care what I think about it, but it's much more useful if I can understand the context, understand who I am, understand whatever. But yeah, I do think most people could maybe stand to be a little bit more saying this. Could stand to say this a little bit more. Uh but yeah, I think as a critic, I find myself doing this. So anyway, it's funny. I don't know. I feel pretty C about it. I feel pretty C. Okay, this is a different kind of meme. This is like the game is so stupid. This is kind of like the Elon Musk one where it's like it wasn't really, it became a meme because it was so stupid that it turned into a whole thing. Yeah. I mean, when you use this meme, you are not really saying you're not it's not really about game design, but the fact that the way in which the meme is funny has to do with game design, right? Like it's got a little, you're when you press F to pay respects, you are in some sense like genuinely paying respects, but you're also in some sense like you are there's obviously a layer of irony to it, right? There's a layer of like ridiculousness to it, or insincerity to it. There's a natural insincerity that comes from the fact that you can't just you can't just make a QTE that's press F to pay respects and have that actually mean something, or make the player feel something. It's like there's some riff on this that's like press F to feel feelings or something like that. I think it's like on someone's like itch.io profile or Twitter profile or Blue Sky profile or something like that. Can't remember where I saw that. But yeah. It's kind of like that. Press F to feel feelings is what's happening here. So, I don't know. It's funny. I like that it exists. It fills its role perfectly. It's not like the funniest or greatest thing ever, but I think it fills its role. And it reminds me of how stupid these things are. Okay. A few more. Got some good ones left. Okay. I think about this one a lot. There's a lot to this one, I think. Similar to the spikes on the ceiling one. Similar to the spikes on the ceiling one, this is not, I don't know, it's just not that simple. It's not as simple as like like what do you want instead exactly, right? Um the obvious alternative to this style of level design for a platformer is something like Mario 64 or Banjo Kazooie, where it's like very open, but then it's like it doesn't matter what you're doing, right? So this is like caricaturing something like Celeste. It's a caricature of the level design of some kind of precision platformers where it thinks that they're too on rails to the point where it's not. Well, here's what's interesting about this. If you really don't like this, the part what you're missing here, what you're missing when you do this is actually not, you're not missing platforming exactly. What you're missing is like puzzles. Like what happens when you do this a little bit better and leave a little bit more room and ambiguity and not just spikes everywhere, but you don't let it go so far in the opposite direction that it becomes open-ended where your choices don't actually matter at all. That middle ground is actually like, it's actually making it into a puzzle game, right? It's making it more puzzly. Like, if you've played Celeste, like a lot of the strawberries are kind of puzzly. Like there's at least like a little, it's not like a hard puzzle that you're likely to get stuck on, but there's a little bit of a layer of like looking at the level and figuring out what that means in terms of what you have to do, right? It's not completely obvious because there's spikes everywhere that you can't go. And so there's some middle ground of level design that's not quite this, where it makes the game more puzzly. And it's interesting that platformer players seem to agree with this, because it seems to me to imply that they want the game to be more puzzly, which is something that I would think that a lot of those same people would never actually say out loud or would never think that they actually want. Hey Leah, specify spikes. You can use spikes, but I hope you're being very creative elsewhere. You're saying you're saying that there should maybe be other forms of punishment, like, I mean, do you just mean something else that's effectively the same as spikes, but it looks different? Or do you mean like you can fall down and end up somewhere else, or you can hit a spring that bounces you somewhere else, or whatever? Or, yeah, I guess also there's just enemies. There's just enemies, right? That would be the, yeah, there's like, I mean, Celeste does have a lot of that stuff too. It has like the Shadow Mario guys following you and other stuff. A bunch of moving obstacles. Yeah, true. Very true. That's one thing that I wasn't even thinking about with this meme. Because I do think there's plenty of room to make an interesting game, and I've played plenty of interesting. Like I enjoyed Love Eternal earlier this year, and it doesn't have complex moving obstacles. It does have some moving obstacles, but it's mostly like moving spikes. And yet, I think it's a really good game. It does enough. It does enough that's different within that framework. But yeah, there is obviously a ton of stuff that you can do that's not just spikes, as in terms of threats. Yeah, what about a spring that launches you into the spikes? Yeah, great idea. Game design geniuses in the chat right here. Um, okay. Do I have anything else to say about this? I'm not sure, but I like it. I think about it a lot. It's 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 good to have it in mind as a kind of, as even though it is like a caricature and there aren't really a lot of games that actually literally feel like that. At least in my mind. Yeah, I think it's good. Okay. Here's where we have to get here's where we might get a little weird. This is another one of these that I can't help but like read layers into it. And I don't exactly know how to capture it. And so like let me just start with how I've seen this meme used. So the way that I've usually seen it used make fun of the is to make fun of the guy, right? Am I off? Someone confirmed to me that this is how it's usually used, or how it was originally used. You are the roguelike elements, man. You are the RNG. That's an interesting point. But let me just make sure we're working from a solid base here and we understand what we're talking about. It's typically used to make fun of the guy who is saying who wants roguelike elements to make it replayable. Okay. Okay, your own interpretation is to make fun of the guy. Yeah. To me, that's kind of weird because then you are painting yourself as the cat who's playing a game that's just about pawing at the thing. You're pawing at the doodad, and that is enough for you. That's. I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe there's like a Giga Chad cat perspective here, where it's like, yes, I do like just pawing at the thing, but I don't know. To me, I would imagine that I wouldn't think that most gamers would like to paint themselves as playing this ultra simplistic thing. I mean, it's not. Well, okay. Here's the other angle of here's one other angle to this. I feel like there's like 5 other angles that I need to talk about. It's not actually the same every time. Like the guy, yeah. So like the guy is the roguelike elements. The guy is changing it. So like in games, there are different ways of adding variety and making one playthrough different from the last, or one round or match or whatever different from the last. The 2 most powerful ones are randomness, which he's talking about, but the other one is having another human being, right? It's the something like randomness that emerges naturally from another human being there and making decisions that affect you, right? And that's why people play pretty simple multiplayer games, like fighting games, seemingly simple on paper, but they have this infinite depth because there's people there, even though there's not very much randomness. And yeah, like it's kind of a weird meme because he is creating something that is effectively like randomness for the cat. Okay. But it's also, you're a different species. Okay. These are 2 different species trying to understand each other. Right. And seemingly not having any kind of recognition of the fact that they're different species. And, I think that this is actually an important layer to the meme because people often have such different tastes and such different levels of experiences and such different skills that they are effectively like different species, not like not like one's a human and one's like a cat, but like they're so different that it's not this simple to try to understand what each other are looking for in games, right? Like, um, I think we all know that I'm a big roguelike elements defender. Not in the sense that the person who made this meme is probably thinking of them like this really shallow, like, uh, oh, here's an item that does something that's like very slightly different. Like, I don't know, a lot of the most popular roguelites have roguelike elements that are not meaningful. The randomness is not very meaningful or not very deeply meaningful. But I really like games where they put you in genuinely new situations and expect you to actually like figure out how the game works as a system. It's like the fact that it's heavily randomized and procedurally generated and everything forces you to understand the game at a deeper level and get better at the game than you would need to if it were just static levels, right? Um, but I do think that that's something that you start to appreciate more as you get better at games in a certain sense. And maybe it's something that some people just aren't comfortable with and are never going to be comfortable with because it requires a certain kind of like acceptance of like chaos and like, yeah, I don't know. I think when I feel like a lot of the times when I'm talking to people who like really like shmups, they really prefer this like static level design for a replayable game. They really enjoy playing a game over and over again that has pretty much static level design. I just feel like we disagree about what we want, but like I feel like if I were coming from their perspective, I would feel the way that they feel. And it's like something different about how it how I don't know if it's a skill issue thing or what, but like somehow when I sit down with something like Syncopause or something like uh something like Tetris or something like Post Void, like I can handle the chaos. I'm comfortable in the chaos and I'm comfortable thinking about it as like thinking about the game in some kind of abstract way as a system, and I can like deduce certain patterns that let me feel comfortable making reasonable decisions and making intelligent decisions within a more chaotic kind of game mode. Whereas it seems like most people just feel overwhelmed by that somehow or um, whatever. And so when they think about what this guy is saying in this meme, they're thinking about probably mostly games that are popular that have roguelike elements, which are kind of more shallowly random, more shallowly like novelty. It's like the roguelike elements are providing novelty, but not really like depth. Or if they have played some of the games that I'm talking about, they probably didn't get very deep into them to the point where you really start to think about the game in that kind of way because they like found it overwhelming or something. So like I don't know, that's this meme can't help but make me feel like I can't help but think about all this kind of stuff when I see this meme. And it gets really weird. And I just look at this guy staring at the cat and the cat staring at the guy, and I just feel like it's more than anything else, it's saying something about the unbridgeable gap between two different beings in the universe. You know what I'm saying? Um yeah, there's also the whole layer of like what is a toy versus a game, but I don't know how interesting that I don't know how interesting that gets. Um Key to understand the meme, I think, is the cat. Would it be the same if instead of a cat there was another person? The cat is there to paint the guy's position as absurd. Yeah, for sure, but like there's just layers to it. Okay. I don't know what more I can say. I don't know what more I can say. I attempted to. I spent a while trying attempting to to, to capture my whole complicated 20-dimensional view of this game. I don't mean that to say it's like a big brain view. I just mean that as like I feel like there's so many different angles that you can think about it, and the whole it doesn't gel into a coherent whole for me. I don't really know. I don't really know where to put it. I feel like it could go C. I think I think it doesn't really make sense as a whole, but it does. It is kind of funny in some way. This is an A for you, S even. But you're like you're like me, right? Like you're a roguelike elements enjoyer, I feel like. Right, Lonza? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just failing to see this from the other perspective, but yeah, I don't know. Let me try to shape my brain into a different perspective to see it differently. Let's try to return to the basic layer of meaning of this meme. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how it's how it kind of works, just making fun of the typical roguelite gamer who just doesn't understand. I don't know. I'll bump it up to B. I will cave and bump it up to B. For sure. I do. This also makes for a nice also makes for a nice bell curve or something. Okay. Okay, a few more. Hopefully these ones won't take quite as long. There were a few that kind of fall into this category. Like there was one with a Souls boss that was like ultimate Satan demon of the abyss gonna murder you, whatever, and it has like 12 health bars and it's like this giant freaky monster. And then it's like, oh, thank God. You get to that boss and you're like, thank God. And then you get to like just a guy standing there with one health bar and a sword, and you're like freaking the fuck out. um but so these kind of fall into the same category, but I think this is the best one. Um we need another F, maybe. But I don't think this is an F. This is a good one. If your opponent blinks, you win and he loses. It plus infinity or infinity slash infinity, and then Racon spelled wrong by the way, which I like. You may eat garbage for free during your turn. It looks like he's eating grass though, to be honest with you. But yeah, I don't know. Just getting at the. I mean, this time in a card game format, but it's similar to one of the previous ones that we were talking about. Like getting at the fact that the visuals, right, and the theming is not the game, right? The visuals are not the game, and they might lead you astray, and things might be counterintuitive. And as from a game design perspective, right, you're more likely, you might be kind of likely to fall into this kind of trap of thinking like, oh yeah, I can just make this. You might kind of fall into your own trap that you set for yourself in this kind of way, right? Like where you're trying to make this card really powerful and you're trying to make this card really weak, and so you might overlook the fact that this really weak card might actually be super overpowered in some weird way that involves like eating garbage. You can eat garbage for free, like that kind of suggests that you can maybe do some kind of infinite thing. It's like the Yu-Gi-Oh pot of greed. Yeah. Yeah. Ludo visual dissonance, yeah. Ludo aesthetic dissonance, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I like this one. I like this one. I'd especially like as a general category, I think. Or maybe B. A or B. I don't know. It doesn't strike me as like crazy funny, but I do like the Racon. I like it. I'll keep it A. Okay. He's green because she can be placed there. I mean, you know, pretty simple stuff. I don't know how much we have to analyze this one. Pretty simple stuff. Kind of funny. Just playing off of a trope here. The face, the face makes it funny. I don't like that the leash is also green there though. The papyrus font is good. Okay, we'll go B for that one. Okay, different different kind of meme here. This one I don't actually know where well, I guess I know where it came from, but like this was kind of before my time. I feel like this was before I was in the game design insider bubble, I guess. And I'm guessing it'll be the case for you guys as well, for a lot of you guys. But back in like 2012 or something, I feel like there was this someone said this is what a game is. I don't know if it was in the context of like trying a bunch of people trying to define what a game is or what, but this is the definition of a game. And a bunch of people, I remember a bunch of people making games where they like intentionally, you know, intentionally made it work. Yeah, I think Corrupt does have all four. Magic Door score thing way older than 2012 even, maybe. That's probably like the first time I remember seeing something about it. Syncopause is all of this at the same time in a way. Skeleton? Red key? I think you'd have to stretch it. But yeah, it's from the Catamites. Is that would that be on itch.io? Yeah, it's from this person, I'm pretty sure. But I think it's like on their website or something. List of the top 100 video games. What do we think? No, can't do this right now. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe just because I was out of the loop. Maybe just because I wasn't there at the time. Had to be there. But I don't think it's that funny. Or that meaningful in any particular way. I don't know. I don't know. Could be missing something. Forgot to close this. Okay, now we got a classic. Now we got a classic. It's gonna take 2 hours to dig into this one. This one has a lot of depth. No, I don't I mean, I laugh every time I see this one, right? And it kind of feels like it feels to me like there's something there in terms of like game design. It feels like this is saying something about game design. But I wouldn't know from experience, I wouldn't know. But I don't know what is it trying to say about game design? I do like the I always forget when this is posted about the thing at the bottom on his revolutionary career at Nintendo. I mean, I know they always do that on these clickhole jokes, but somehow it gets me on this one. The picture is great. I don't know. Is it getting at something about what is your? It's getting at something about the layers of like the layers of agency and the layers of intent when you're playing a game. Like on some highest level of like what you want to be doing, you want one thing, but then you create a sub agency within that that's like you're doing something else. I don't know. I don't know how to capture it, but it feels like it's saying something for sure. It feels like it's saying something, and I feel like I have to go. I feel like I have to go A tier. Is it as funny as the S tier ones? It might be as funny as the S tier ones. I think it is. Yeah, I don't know. It's I'm saying that thing about the sub agencies, I'm kind of explicitly talking about the way that CT Nguyen talks about it in his book Games Agency as Art, which is a book that I really like about game design. Highly recommend. Um, yeah, that he talks, he talks about like how you have to be able to like move from one, like you create an agent within your brain that's like it wants these particular things. It wants to win at all costs. But above that, one level above that, you actually want to be enjoying the game, right? You want to be enjoying the game, and you have created that agent of that. You've created that sub person inside your brain that wants to win at all costs because that's the way to enjoy the game. And even above that, there's other things like if you realize that the house is on fire, you're going to throw all of that out, and you know you have something about ultimately you wanting to survive and be happy and whatever, and that involves like not getting stuck in a house that's burning down, or like if if you realize that that playing the game is making your friend hate you for some reason, like you're going to maybe want to do something else. Like it's these nested layers of agency is like how he talks about it basically. And I feel like it's getting at that a little bit. And it's also getting at something about like the title or the description of the game, like misleading in particular ways. I don't know. It just feels like it just feels like it is saying a lot about game design while also just being funny. Yeah. Okay. Last two. Last two. Gamers be like waterfall with a treasure. Wow, so generic. Waterfall with no treasure. Where is my treasure? It's a little bit it's a little bit Reddit coded, it's a little bit r slash games. This is I'm sure you find this on r slash games if you go to the top of all time or something. But also, it's yeah, like I feel like this could maybe be framed in a way that would hit me as much funnier. However, there is a thing happening here again where it's like if your game is gonna have a waterfall in it, what do you do? But also, I think it's maybe not like, you can just do something else, right? You can do like you can get creative with it. You can use your brain and come up with a solution that's new and interesting. Like the natural way that you get behind the waterfall, the most obvious way to get behind the waterfall is at the bottom and there's nothing there. But actually, if you figure out how to get up on this cliff way up here, that's really tough to get to, and you have to drop down from above to get to it, and then you can, get behind like the higher part of the waterfall like that, then there's actually something up there. Or like, you get behind the waterfall and it looks like there's nothing, but if you have the whatever, then you can or like maybe there's like an invisible or maybe there's like a fake wall, Dark Souls wall that I don't know. There's like a bunch of things that you can do that are better than the nothing or obvious treasure. SM64 Waterfall solves this. There's nothing behind it, but your childhood imagination makes you wonder what may be beyond it. Is that like a waterfall that's like out of reach without glitches, or I'm trying to think of what waterfall you're talking about. Is it in the beginning area? Oh, whatever. There's a spring in the waterfall that shoots you into some spikes. Yeah. Yeah, there's so much that can be done. There's so much that can be done. So this feels kind of stupid on that level. Like, yeah. But it is, there's something to it. It's not, I can't quite put it F tier. I'll put it D. Okay, last one. Okay, this is a controller, and on it, there's a big red button that says get $1 billion and kill all enemies. And I'm pretty sure the context of this is like, this is a response to what was it? This is a response to the Doom, you control all the buttons you press, or you control the buttons you press thing. This is the discourse's response to that. Um, yeah, it's funny. Like, it's just it's just taking the extreme example. You know, it's taking the most ridiculous possible thing to try to get people to understand that it's stupid to just say you control all the buttons you press and have that be a shutdown. uh, are like, yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's obviously stupid past a certain point, and this is showing that point. Or this is showing that. It's kind of funny that it says get $1 billion and kill all enemies in that order, because it's like, you know, kill all enemies is an in-game thing. But when you start reading it from the front, from the top, it sounds like it's talking about in real life. Like the most natural way to read this to me is like in real life. Like if it said get 1 billion gold and kill all enemies, that would be like a little bit more expected, right? Because it's like they're both talking about something clearly in game, but this is like is does it mean dollars in real life? And like if the order were reversed, if it was kill all enemies and get $1 billion, then I would maybe also think that it's dollars in game, or at least I would be a little more likely to think that. But the fact that it's dollars first is like, anyway, um, it's funny. It's funny. The fact that it's a the giant red like arcade machine style button is funny. Also, this is funny just in the sense that it's showing how much wasted space there is on modern controllers. Maybe not all modern controllers, but like, look at this. You have enough space for this big button, and it doesn't really override anything. That's kind of, this is kind of a different topic, but why are we doing this? I mean, I guess you can't naturally reach there anyway, so whatever. But I mean, I guess you're supposed to. I guess they wanted people to use the touchpad for real, which just never happened. It just became another button. It just became a big button. All right. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a big trackpad. Okay, this feels good. Feel good about this. Any strong disagreement? What's the strongest disagreement here? Maybe this one. What is the strongest disagreement from the chat? I'm curious. You have ops. Oh. You have ops that you have to kill all enemies. Yeah. I guess that's a good point. Could be talking about that in real life too. Spike guy needs a rise? Hmm. Maybe so. Maybe so, actually. I think that Calvin and Hobbes is S. That's a pretty big disagreement, for sure. I like the I like this meme in general. Like it's either this or this, and then despite being this, it's this. I like I like that format. I just don't think that this one really, I don't know. It just doesn't hold up to scrutiny enough. Like as soon as I start thinking about it, it falls apart in my head. It doesn't really make sense to me. But maybe that's my fault for trying to make too much sense of things sometimes. I think I'm good with this. All right. That's it for the stream, I think. I will be trying to make that video that I talked about earlier in the stream. Go back and listen to the beginning if you missed it and care about that. I will be Misa is going to force me to finish this video this week. And yeah. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.